Richard Skipper celebrates. Every show is a celebration. Richard Skipper celebrates the best in entertainment. Each show, Richard delivers the artists you love, showcasing what makes them unique. Never gossipy. The antidote to a sometimes hectic world. Now, here's your host, Richard Skipper.
Happy Saturday, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. As you can see, my partner in crime, the chocolate diva herself, is right here sitting next to me. It has been so long since I have done an interview where the other person was not miles away that I hope I even know how to react. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. My show is Richard Skipper Celebrates, and I'm all about celebrating. I celebrate life, I celebrate artists, I celebrate art, and I celebrate great friends. And it's easy to celebrate a great artist when you admire them so much. It's even easier when that person happens to be a very dear friend of yours, or mine in this case. And that's Peggy Eason, the chocolate diva. And we're going to just sit and gab and catch up. Today, you don't mind my saying this to you, today is Peggy Eason's 75th birthday. And for those of you who know, the 75th birthday is all about diamonds. And she truly is a diamond. And diamonds are a girl's, or in this case, a guy's best friend. Hello, Peggy Eason.
Hello, Richard Skipper.
Oh,
I'm so glad to be here. I thought I'd never get here.
You know, it's so funny. And I told Peggy this. We're both on camera. We're sitting next to each other. We are sitting on chairs that are equal size, but you look like Thumbelina next to me.
I told you not to say that.
Well, they can see it themselves. So I want to begin. I mean, first of all, it is your birthday.
Yes.
Today, 75.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to ask you a stupid, silly question. What does that feel like to you?
You know what? I feel like a young teenager. I really do. I don't feel 75. I don't know how you're supposed to feel at 75, but I feel so vibrant and just so glad to be alive today. You know, some people don't make it to 75, you know? So I'm just glad to be here. Glad to say that I'm 75 years young. Years young, not
I am
old,
so
young.
glad that you, I mean, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but when I reached out to you and said, I would love to have you come to our home. We've got a few friends that are coming over later. You don't know who's coming, so it could be, it
could be anybody.
It's not a surprise party.
Oh.
So, you know, a few people, just people that, you know, from, you know, nearby, people that are easily able to get here. We do live in the country.
Yeah, I know.
You know, how have you, I know that you're the kind of person who celebrates all month long.
Yes, I do.
How did the celebration begin this month, and how are you celebrating?
Well, the first day of July 1st, I woke up late. I don't wake up late. I usually get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but this particular day, I got up at 7 o'clock. And for just one moment, I forgot that it was July 1st. And when I realized, I was sitting having coffee, and when I realized it was July 1st, I said, oh my goodness, this is my birthday month. So I called a very good friend of mine, who I know never gets out. And I said, whether you like it or not, you're going to spend my first day birthday with me. So I took her to lunch, and we had a good time. Just a regular old lunch, talking, and that's how I spent my first day.
Well, one of the things
you called me up and asked me what I was doing on the 10th.
Yes, and here we are.
Yes.
One thing that you and I do have in common is that we both do love to celebrate.
Oh, yes.
And I know that this past year put quite a dent in your celebration. How did you spend this day a year ago?
Let me see. Last year, what happened last year was this. you were the last person I saw March 9th before we shut down?
Mm-hmm.
We shut down on March 12th, and I think you were the last person that I saw. And from March 12th, from that day until July, I was going crazy. I was literally going nuts because I didn't go out. I did what I was told. I stayed home. I cleaned my hands 15 times a day. I did everything I was supposed to. By the time July 1st came, I said, nah, I can't do this anymore. I stayed home. By the time July 9th came, I said, no, I can't do that. I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm going out, mask or no mask. I'm going, COVID or no COVID. If I go, I go. And that's when I started going out again. Because literally, you know me, I'm a people person. I'm not one for isolation. And so I went to my favorite restaurant, which is now closed.
I know.
And I was so upset about that. But I went and had a couple of peach cup martinis. And that's how I celebrated my birthday.
Oh, I know there are martinis waiting ahead of you today.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, don't you? Well, I will tell everyone, I mean, when everything began to shut down, and you and I actually got into almost fisticuffs over this.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to keep you stopped or nailed down. And you were planning, you were going to Italy.
That was in April.
For a tour. And I kept saying, cancel, cancel, cancel.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you to cancel when no one else was.
But I was telling you when I said to you, if Perillo felt I should cancel, they would cancel. So I
That's
wasn't
right.
really worried.
Peggy said, I'm going to wait until the last minute and then I'm going to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, one of the things that I really admire about you, Peggy, is that you march to your own drum beat.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get political, which is kudos to you. You are friends to everybody you come in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine anyone not liking you. And you truly are a person who is always on the go.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from for you? You've always had that as long as I've known you.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you how this all started. When I was little, I was always interested in things, and I used to like to go to different shows and things. And one day, someone promised to take me. It was a rock and roll show. It was supposed to be at the Brooklyn Paramount Theater. And this person promised to come and take me backstage to meet all the stars that I liked so much. Bobby Wright, Dale, all my stars. Fats Domino was going to be there. And I was just waiting for this person to come. Well, they never showed up. They never showed up. I remember I cried and cried and cried. And I remember from that day on, I decided that never again would I wait for someone to take me anywhere. Any place I wanted to go, if no one would take me, I would go myself. And I think that's where it came from. You know, it all started back then.
And you were about how old at that point?
I must have been about 10 or 11 at that point.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of your friends are watching right now. We have a good audience. Just some of the people that are watching: Tesla Bella, Arlene Jacks, Glenn Charlo, Rosa Puzo, Michael Colby, Leanne Borghese, Renee Katz. These are just a few of the names that I'm seeing here. Yeah. They all know your story. Mm-hmm. But for those who don't, if you can take us back when you were born, and the circumstances surrounding that.
Okay. When I was born, I had a twin sister. There was a twin. I was born 2 pounds and 6 ounces, and my twin was born 1 pound. And the doctors told my parents that neither one of us would make it. Well, my grandmother, who was a woman of very strong faith, she said, God may take one, but he's not going to take both. And my sister, unfortunately, succumbed after 4 days, but I'm still here. So I've always believed since then that I had a purpose in life. I didn't know what it was until maybe about 10 or 15 years ago, but I always felt that I had a purpose. There was a reason for my being here. Mm-hmm. And I am so grateful. That's why I celebrate my birthday, because I'm not supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. No, I'm going to rephrase that. You are supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. Where did you discover, number one, that you had this incredible gift for singing?
Well, first of all, I didn't even know that I could sing. I thought everybody could do what I could do. I mean, I listened to the radio. I would imitate everything that I heard on the radio. And I remember it was one Christmas, my grandmother, everybody always, we called her Mama, and everybody gathered at Mama's house for Christmas. And one of my grandmother's favorite shows was the Perry Como show. And she loved her Perry Como. Don't talk while Perry Como's on. While she's baking, she's listening to Perry Como. Well, I grew up Catholic and I went to Catholic school. Now, every girl knows the Ave Maria. Every Catholic girl knows the Ave Maria. Well, the show was on and someone came on and they started singing the Ave Maria. Well, of course, I started singing along with the person on the TV. And my grandmother says, "Turn that television down." And my cousin Maddie said, "But Mama, that's not the television. That's Peggy." Well, she dropped everything she was doing. She came out. She said, and this is exactly how she said it. I'll never forget it. She says, "Lord, child, I did not know you could sing like that. God gave you a voice." And that's where it all started.
And what were some of the earliest pursuits that you had to pursue a career as a singer?
Well, I didn't really start pursuing anything, but the nuns took that over. The first thing they made me do was they wanted me to audition for Ted Mack's Amateur Hour. Now, Ted Mack's, you guys are probably too old or young.
It was the Star Search of its day.
Yeah, it was the Star Search. Before they had Major Bulls, and then they had my day, Ted Mack Amateur Hour. And so they wanted me to audition for that. So I auditioned for that. I got accepted, but guess what? The day the show was supposed to air, they took it off. So I never got a chance. And then my grandmother started paying me money to sing at her teas and anything she would have at the church. So I started singing in the church, which gave me a great sense of confidence doing that. And then she wanted me to audition for now ready for this. The nuns wanted me to audition for Lawrence Welk. Now, if you have to understand at this time, I'm a little girl from the ghetto, from the projects. I could not be seen on Lawrence Welk. Would have been the laughing stock of all my friends. But nevertheless, the nuns wrote a letter on my behalf to Mr. Welk, thinking, because I used to think I would be like Norma Zimmer, the champagne lady, because I could sing opera like she could, and
very few people know this, but I wanted to be Norma Zimmer too.
You succeeded. And you succeeded.
That's funny.
And he wrote me a letter. Believe it or not, he did write back and he said, "We would love to have you on the show, but unfortunately, we don't take youngsters on." And I knew that wasn't true because he had the Lennon sisters on. But I didn't pay attention to that. But he said, "When you get to be 18, we would love to have you." But of course, by the time I became 18, there was no more Lawrence Welk. But I
do want to talk about some of the people that have peppered your life. And let's start with, Leontine Price.
Well, even before Leontine, go back, I had occasion to sing in the presence of Marian Anderson. And Marian Anderson said, "You have a great, great career." And she wished me luck. And then I became friends with Leontine Price, who was my mentor. And she gave me a lot of good advice. I mean, the advice that she gave me, I stuck to. The first thing she said, she said two things to me. She said, "Never give it away for free, because if you give it away for free, you'll never be able to get beyond that. And people will not respect you for that. And they will always, you'll always try to sell yourself cheap." And then she said, the other thing is, she said, and she was very upfront about this. She said, "Because you're Black, they're going to push you in a direction that you may not want to go. They're going to say you want to sing jazz, blues, gospel, or soul. Well, you don't do that. You sing what you like. You sing what you do best. And that's it." And I never forgot that. And whenever people try to push me into singing jazz or gospel, I said, "No, I sing what I like. I don't do jazz, gospel, blues, or soul."
But you also got the opportunity to sing for Irving Berlin.
His wife. Yeah.
His wife.
Yes. Well, that was when I was a Girl Scout. They had a competition. They were looking for someone to sing "God Bless America" at the Grand Ballroom at the big rally. I didn't even know the Girl Scouts had such rallies. And there was some famous people involved in the Girl Scouts. So they had auditions. I must have been about 17 because I was graduating from school then. And one day we had this competition. We were the only troop for the blind, Troop -193 in the Bronx. We were the only Girl Scout troop for the blind, and we competed. And there were 3 of us from my troop who went down. Now, you have to understand, there were troops from all around the country. I mean, people came from all far and near to sing, to audition. Well, the day I came, there were about 15 people there. And out of the 15, I was the first one to audition. And so I went in and I auditioned. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know it was going to be that big. You know, the kid, you never know it's going to be that big. Then the other 2 girls, they came and auditioned. And then the music director said, we want the first one again. So I figured, oh boy, I messed up. They're going to give me a second chance. So I went in, and unbeknownst to me, the organist had raised the key a half a step higher than I sang it before. Well, when I hit that high note, I always had a big mouth. They used to call me the little girl with the big mouth because I was little back then, you guys. Yes, I was only 120 pounds back then. But anyway, I was a little girl with the big voice. And when I finished singing, somebody said, "Is that Kitty Carlisle?" And somebody said, "No." And I didn't know who Kitty Carlisle was. And they said, "No, that's one of our scouts." Well, I left. I figured my audition was over and that was it. Well, the next day, my scout leader got a call that I had been chosen to sing "God Bless America" at the Grand Ballroom at the Waldorf Astoria. Now, I had never been to the Waldorf Astoria. That was not in my budget or anything like that. And then I found out that the judges were Mrs. Irving Berlin and Mrs. Kitty Carlisle, and they chose me out of all those scouts.
That is such an amazing story.
Yeah.
And you also had, well, dare I say, a relationship with Robert Goulet.
Oh, well. You know, I remember the first time I ever saw Robert Goulet. I just thought he was the greatest things in the world. And I'm so glad to be Facebook friends with Vera, his wife. I love her. She always sends me nice messages. But I had the opportunity to meet Robert Goulet. My girlfriend's husband, well, at the time, was in Camelot. He was in the chorus. And I told him that I loved Robert Goulet. And he said, "Well, we're going to arrange for you to meet him." So when I came to the show, the stagehand told my husband to bring me to the back of the back door, you know, stage door, whatever you call that. And then somebody would escort me into his dressing room. Well, I was in his dressing room and I was talking to somebody about the first time I ever met Bobby Goulet. I said, "Oh my God, it was the most marvelous thing I ever heard. I was in seventh heaven." I said, and when he came out and started singing, I thought I would die. So he said, "Well," so somebody said, "Well, what song did he sing?" I said, "What other do you think? What if ever I would leave you?" So all of a sudden he comes over, and because he had come in the room, unbeknownst to me. See, you can play a lot of tricks on blind people. That's not fair, you know.
Well, we don't do that.
Yeah. Yes, you do. But anyway, as I'm talking about him, he's motioning people, "Don't let her talk. Don't stop her from talking. I want to hear this." So when I finished talking, he came over and he whispered in my ear, "If ever I would leave you." I thought I was going to die, literally die. And that's how I met him.
Well, with this incredible life that you've led, was there anyone that you ever really dreamed of meeting? You did meet that person. You couldn't believe that you met them?
Well, Sammy Davis Jr. was one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I met him. Sammy was the kind of person that if he was eating lunch, he didn't care. He'd get up and he'd talk to you. Mm-hmm. And I love Sammy Davis Jr. And my girlfriend, he was eating in this restaurant. It was called Dimitri's. It no longer exists. Mm-hmm. And he was having lunch, and my girlfriend told him that would he do her a favor and come over and speak to me. And he came over and spoke to me. But not only did he speak to me, he said, "Well, haven't I seen you somewhere before?" So I said, "I don't think so." And then I remembered my high school group had gone to see Golden Boy, and I was the only Black girl in my class. And I remember that. And he came out on the stage and he spoke to us. So I said, "That's probably where," he said, "That's where I saw you. You came out on the stage. There was a group from the blind, School for the Blind. And that's where but he remembered, he didn't remember my name, but he remembered my face. And I was so happy about that."
So, Peggy, as you're going through high school, what were your goals? What were your aspirations? What were your dreams immediately after high school?
Well, once I found out that I could sing, as I told you, I thought everybody could do what I could do. But once I found out that I could sing, and, I wanted to sing. That's all I ever wanted to do, but not to be famous. I didn't want to be a famous star. I just wanted to sing to spread joy to other people. Never being famous, that wasn't a part of it. And so I wanted to sing. However, my high school had other jobs for me. They wanted me to become a secretary. And there's nothing wrong with becoming secretary, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to sing. So I decided that against everybody's wishes and against everybody's rule, you said I marched to my own drummer. I decided that I was going to apply to different colleges. So what was happening was the school, every time I would apply to a college, the school would tell them would encounter much difficulty. I found this out later on. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to apply to Manhattan School of Music, and I'm not going to tell them that I applied. I had a friend in the admissions office. She told me, just apply and I'll watch out for the application. Well, I applied for Manhattan School of Music. Everybody said I wouldn't get in. I wouldn't get in. Guess what? I got in.
You got in.
I got in. And that's when I really decided that I wanted to sing. And I've been lucky. I've traveled. I've done recitals all over the country. I've met some wonderful people through my singing. And that's what I plan to do again. Only this time I'm going to do it through doing private parties for people, and because that's where you can make some good money.
Peggy, I want to ask you, as a blind person, what is the biggest misconception that you think that people have about who you are, the life that you live, and what one thing drives you up the wall among all others?
First of all, one of the big misconceptions that people have: do you get money from the government? No, I do not get money from the government. Oh, okay. And they want to know, well, for example, if they said, well, were you married? I said, yes, I was married twice. And they'll say, was he blind too? I hate when people just assume that I would only go out with blind men. I don't go out with blind men. I haven't in a while. So I want people to know that. And I also want people to know that I'm not deaf, because sometimes they start yelling at me as if I'm deaf, and I can hear.
I'm laughing because of a story that happened to us in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm not deaf, and I you don't have to yell at me. I can hear you. But that's
well, it's the same thing when somebody meets someone who speaks a foreign language. They tend to raise their decibel level. Yeah. So right after high school, you got married.
No, not right
well,
away.
I know not right away, but years later.
Yeah, years.
And a lot of people don't know this, but you lost your first husband as a result of 9/11.
Yes, he got cancer as a result, because he worked in that area as a result of 9/11. So I lost him in 2004 from 9/11. That was sad. So I was very much affected by 9/11. So.
But you tell us about some of the jobs that you have had over the course of your life, and then we're going to get to the Chocolate Diva and how she came to be.
Oh yeah, oh yes. Okay. Well, the first job I ever had, I'm trying to remember. Oh, the first job I ever had was in a law firm. It was called Lord, Day and Lord, and I actually liked the law firm. I liked it there. They were very nice. We had good benefits and everything. But at the end of the day, I just felt that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wasn't happy being a typist, And then I worked for an agency that you might know, the Internal Revenue Service, one of your favorite agencies. I worked there, and again, I made out very well there, but it just didn't fit. And then I worked for the other job I had was I worked for the Jewish Guild for the Blind, and I had to leave because I just couldn't deal with that atmosphere. People don't realize, but the world of the blind is a totally different world, and it's protected. That wasn't for me. And I had to, after 2.5 years, I said, you know what, I've got to find another job. And then I worked for the Hartford Insurance Company, which was one of the 7 largest insurance companies in the country. And I stayed there. And then they changed their whole system. And at the time, I was not computer literate. So I figured, you know what, this is not going to work for me. And the job that I wound up staying with for 25 years was the New York State Division of Parole, where not only did I work as a secretary, but I also was union president. I was union president, and that was a lot of work. I was, by the time I retired, I was exhausted, but I enjoyed helping the members. I enjoyed negotiating contracts. I enjoyed I just enjoyed just helping people using my social work skills.
Now, wasn't there a time when you were a landlord wanted to get you out of the building?
Oh, yeah.
And you fought back and you won big time.
Oh, yeah. Well, what she wanted to do, what happened was they wanted to get me out of the building. But, of course, I always pay my rent on time. I'm a good tenant. So, so what they were doing, they were rejecting my checks and they weren't cashing my checks. And the next thing I know, I get an eviction notice. Well, at the time, my boyfriend, who was my boyfriend then, we weren't married then, he said, Peggy, they're trying to get you out. He says, but don't worry, we got the documentation. So what we started doing was sending all of my checks, return receipt requested. Now they were accepting the checks because we had all those, I think those yellow receipts that you get back in the mail. So we had they withheld 6 months worth of checks, because they wanted to evict me. So anyway, I get this eviction notice and I go into court. Now, I always wanted to be a lawyer, and so I figured this is my time. I know I could defend myself. I know this. So the judge says, Miss Eason, can you think of any reason why I shouldn't evict you? And I said, yes. I said, because I've been paying my rent. He said, well, this says here that you haven't been paying your rent. So I said, may I ask someone to come up and assist me? First of all, the judge was mad because he didn't know, they didn't tell him that I was blind. So if you can imagine me and my guide dog, the judge was furious. So he said, sure. So I had my boyfriend, Stephen, come up and we presented him all those checks that they hadn't cashed. And I said, oh, and Judge, here is a copy of all the real leases of the real people living in the building. The other people are just relatives. She's warehousing apartments. Oh my God! And boy, the judge was. Now, meanwhile,
Aaron Brockovich has nothing on you.
Now, meanwhile, the attorney did not know this. I mean, they didn't tell it. They didn't warn him about me. All right, they did not warn him about me. So. Finally, the judge was furious. He said, okay, I've had it. Enough of this. So I got a year's free rent and I didn't have to pay rent. And he said, and by the way, if you don't cash those checks within the next day or two, I'm going to order her to stop payment on the checks. And that's it. So that's how I won my case. But that's what they do when they want to get you out.
It's exactly what they want to do. Now, Peggy, what was the longest stretch of time that you went without singing?
The longest stretch of time that I went without singing was when I thought I want to give up singing. For a brief moment, I wanted to give up singing. It lasted all of 2 weeks. I couldn't help myself,
But did you have the opportunities when you were working in the law office and you were working in the parole office? Did you also have opportunities at that time to sing?
Yeah, that's when. That's where my jobs were very, very. They were really cooperative because I would plan my vacation times around my recitals because sometimes my recitals required that I travel, different places. So I'd use all my vacation time and I would do I was making good money too. Yeah, I was making pretty good money. Doing recitals I've worked for the National Conference of Christian Jews. I mean, good people that I work for. So I did that in between my jobs, Yeah. So that was it.
But there was a time when you really came back with full force. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you started singing with the singing experience. Is that correct?
Well, no, I was singing before I ever got to
I know that you were singing before that,
yeah.
But I know that you actually took the singing experience.
Yeah, I took the singing experience and
with Linda Emile Burns.
And the interesting thing about the singing experience, I thought, oh, what nice people. Oh, it's such a nice, it's wonderful, but I didn't realize that what it was. It was originally for singers who always wanted to sing and never sang, but I liked the class anyway, so I stayed because I loved the class. And people kept coming in every week and saying, I'm doing a cabaret show. I'm doing a cabaret. Now, I didn't know what, you have to understand, I did not know what cabaret was. I didn't know what it was. I really didn't. I had no idea. But I was going to do a cabaret show anyway. So my ex-husband bought me a book on cabaret, you know, how to set it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we came and he read the book to me. I said, I can do that. That's easy. So in 15 minutes, I wrote a cabaret show. So I called Linda. I said, Linda, I wrote a show. I don't know what I'm doing, but I wrote a show. And she said, well, let me look at it. So she looked at it. She's, oh, this is great. So she, you know, she switched a few things around and fixed it up, you know, so,
Mm-hmm.
and helped me do the medleys and things like that. And that was when I performed my first cabaret show at Don't Tell Mama. I don't remember the year. Linda might remember the year,
Mm-hmm.
but it was called Discover Me.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first cabaret show.
And there's also a CD that's available. Of Discover
Not
Me.
that one.
Oh, it's
That's
not
all
available.
sold out.
It's sold out, so we don't. Well, I've got my copy.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe I'll sell it for millions of dollars on eBay. But when you said you did not really know what cabaret was, as you're starting to put your foot in the waters of New York City cabaret,
Mhm.
what were the things that you discovered about yourself? What are the things that surprised you, and what are the things that you felt that was just not for you?
Well, it was the thing I didn't like when I first I didn't like the competitiveness of it. You know, people competing against each other, friends competing against each other for awards, and you know, I'm not one for awards. I just, you know, I think it doesn't do friendships well,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
didn't like that. You know, I didn't like that at all. And that was one thing that bothered me about the cabaret. I don't know why, it just bothered me. But
Well, you know, one of the things that I
Yeah.
always say is to stay in your own lane.
yeah,
And you do that very well.
yeah, But on the other hand, I found out that for me, the cabaret, they were very accepting of me. They really were. They were
Mhm.
very accepting of me. I met a lot of friends through cabaret, and as a matter of fact, cabaret is where I met you, Richard.
That's
you know?
right. Well,
May I
let's
tell them?
let's talk about our relationship.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, Peggy, you tell my family in South Carolina, and if my sister, my mom are watching, my entire family is crazy about you.
Yeah, because I'm from the dark side of the family.
She's
that's
from the
why.
dark side of the family.
But-
And we've done road trips together. You've
Mhm.
stayed at my family's home in South Carolina.
Mhm.
But let's talk about our relationship, because we've done a lot together.
Well, I got to tell you how we met first. First of all, when I first came into cabaret, Richard used to run this show at the Iguana. What did you call that?
Wednesday night at the Iguana with
Wednesday
Dana
night.
Lorge.
Wednesday night at the Iguana. And I had been around for a while. And a friend of mine, Carol Shedlin, she said to me one day, she said, Peggy, does Richard Skipper know about you? And I said, who the hell is Richard Skipper? Well,
Exactly.
Who is he? Why should he know about me? Well, I think he should know about you. And I said, so they brought me, she and my friend Ivan Farkas brought me one night to the Iguana. And I'm saying, oh my God, all this wonderful talent. And Richard and Dana came out. Richard came out bigger than life. I said, who is that? That's Richard Skipper, right? So apparently he must have seen me come in several times and not singing, right? So one day, I don't know what possessed you that night.
Just seeing you, I
One
guess.
day, he says, come up on the stage. Because I said, okay, next week. So he said, what can you sing for me tonight? So the only one I had No Man Left for Me. It was a song, No Man Left for Me. And from Will Rogers, Follies.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that song. So Richard said, okay, sing it. So he says, what else do you know? I said, but you said I could only sing one song. He said, what else do you know? I said, but you said I could only sing one song. So he says, I said, I know My Ship. My Ship? That's one of my favorite songs. He said, sing it. So I sang My Ship. And that was the beginning of our relationship. I would say that was the beginning of it. And then I get, one day I get an invitation. Oh no, before then, this is before I get an invitation to his wedding. I thought, gee, I'm honored, you know. I really made it now. I went. My friend Ivan and I, we went to the wedding, and then I was about to do a show, and I don't know how Richard told me he was a publicist. And,
no, let's back up for just a moment. I had done an event. We're not going to mention names.
No, I'm not mentioning names.
No, we're not going to mention names. No, I'm going to tell the story. Okay. But we're not going to mention names because I'm all about celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you are. but the circumstances surrounding this, I think, are important because it talks about resilience and the fact that you didn't let anything knock you down. I had done an interview on stage with Eileen Fulton, which you came to.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was dabbling a little bit in publicity. And you came back and you said, I would like to hire you as my publicist. And I said, great. But you were working, and I'm going to use this term loosely, with a manager who did not like me. And the manager said, if you work with Richard Skipper, I won't work with you. But I called him. And I said, we both are on the same wavelength. We both want you to succeed. At least that's what I hope, that we both want you to succeed. And then you can pick up the story from there.
And then he talked to me. I said, well, we are a team here. We got to work as a team. And he's going to be a part of my team. And he said, well, it's not up to you to hire a publicist. I said, yes, it's up to the singer to hire the publicist. And I'm hiring him. So I did. And so he quit. I was supposed to do a show at
the Triad.
5 weeks? Was it 5 weeks?
It was 5 weeks away.
5 weeks
I will
away.
say this. This included, she had a Emmy and Grammy Award-winning musical director, a Tony Award-winning costumer. She had an incredible team, but their loyalties, for whatever reason, were to the manager who had brought them on board. And so when he dropped you, you lost your entire team.
I called up Richard. I was hysterical. I mean, and now, you know what? I don't cry very often. I got to tell you guys, I don't cry very often, but when I cry, watch out, because that's the Pacific Ocean here. And Richard said very calmly, he said, we will have a show for you. I will get you a team. In 3 days, Richard had assembled a team for me. We had not only a whole new team, and then we're talking about titles. And Richard said, what songs are you singing? So I said, well, I named one song. And then I said, I'll show them all. That's it. We're going to call it I'll Show It All. I'll show them all. And that's what we did. Richard gave me the title, got me the team together. And in 3 days, we had a working team together. In 5 weeks, we did a show, a completely different show altogether. You know what I learned about? You asked what I learned about that. I learned that if in a pinch, I have the resilience. I can bounce back from anything. That's what I learned.
And I know that you don't do this for awards, but you got nominated for MAC Award.
Yes, I got that's a funny story. I'm home one day, and Richard calls me on the phone. He's all excited. I'm saying, what is he excited about? Peggy, has anyone called you? I said, no. Did someone die? He said, no, you were nominated for a MAC Award. I said, what? I was shocked because, I don't participate in those things, But my director at that time was Lennie Watts, and he said, Peggy, you're nominated for a MAC Award. I said, oh my God. Now I got to tell you something about this. The night of the MAC Awards, I knew I wasn't going to win because, there's so many famous people, but I wasn't worried about it. I was just honored just to be nominated because the women's field had 23 nominations. 23 people, and then 6 people were nominated. So I felt honored, especially I was in high company. So meanwhile, Richard, he's more nervous than I am. I'm just sitting there eating my food. So I said, Richard, I got to go to the bathroom. So Richard said, Peggy, you got to wait. I said, Richard, I got to go to the bathroom. Well, there was a performer on the stage, and she wouldn't get off the stage.
Baby Jane Dexter. I'm mentioning names. May she rest in peace.
She would not get off the stage. And I have to go to the bathroom. So Richard said, okay. So he takes me around the back. I go to the bathroom, and I come back. She's still talking.
Oh my God! God bless her. But as a result of a lot happened with this, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm patting you on the back because Peggy never said, no, I don't think that's going to happen or anything. We got you an article in Cabaret Scenes magazine.
Oh, yes.
And you were called to do the Cabaret Convention.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was called to do the Cabaret Convention. Yeah. KT Sullivan wanted me. And, you know, it's funny. I used to listen. I used to listen to people say, oh, I'm singing at the Cabaret Convention. What is that? I didn't even know what that was. But it was an honor to sing. I couldn't believe it. And somebody said, well, wait a minute. How come you got invited? I've been in Cabaret for years. And I said, take that up with KT. I have nothing to do with that.
But you brought the house down.
Yeah.
Tell
him who dressed me.
Well, you cannot. You can guess who dressed Peggy. We have seen each other in various stages of undress backstage.
Yeah, KT asked me who I needed backstage to assist me in helping getting dressed. And I said, oh, Richard Skipper. Oh, okay.
Do you remember who you shared a dressing room with that night?
Oh, God. I shared a dressing room with Anita Gillette and Karen Oberlin. We had the best time. I said, Anita, don't make me laugh before I have to go on stage. The woman is crazy.
One of the funniest people on the planet.
She had me dying laughing. I'm ready to go on stage. And we had a good time, all of us in there. Wonderful time.
Now let's talk about some of our road trips together.
Oh my God!
I mean, Peggy, was it the malt cruise that you were coming off of?
The malt shop memory cruise. Yeah, I was in Fort Lauderdale.
I went to Fort Lauderdale. I went to Boca to see Leroy Reams as Dolly Levi and Hello Dolly, and then we were going to drive back up, and you and I spoke, I guess, about a week.
I just happened to mention I was going to be in
and she just happened to mention that she was going to be going to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I asked how you were going to be coming back to New York.
I was going to get a plane.
She was going to fly back. And I said, why don't we pick you up in Fort Lauderdale? I have never laughed so much in my life. And so if you're going to go on a road trip with Peggy, you need to know where every what is.
Cracker Barrel.
I don't know. She has a radar and she'll go, I know we're coming up on another Cracker Barrel. And we would stop and we would go to Cracker Barrel. You just loved it.
But tell them what you did when you came to pick me up. How you put me in the car.
Oh, I put her in the driver's seat. We were going to drive home.
We had some pictures.
But, you know, we went home to South Carolina. We had a wonderful time there. And, you know, as I said, my family loves you. I think they love you more than they love me.
Oh,
Peggy.
no, they don't.
No, they do. They do. And you and my sister bonded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, one night, everybody was sleeping. We're trying on clothes.
My sister, my sister is very much like Dana Lorge was in terms of her fashion sense. And she gave you a whole wardrobe that night.
Yeah. Yeah, we had, and Craig, her husband's just saying, "Oh yeah, you look good, babe. You look good." He's watching us, and I'm modeling.
Yeah, Craig, if you're watching, everybody
else is sleeping.
And then you also went with us when we went to Cleveland to see Betty Buckley and Hello Dolly.
Oh yeah, Betty Buckley. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I mean, a lot's happened over the past couple of years. Because
tell them the restaurant story.
Which one?
The menu story.
Oh, so we are in South Carolina. And we are driving. We were starving. We couldn't find a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, that's right.
We couldn't find anything else that was open. So we decided to stop at a local Denny's. And this was in Lumberton, North Carolina. I'll never forget this. So we stop at Denny's. And Peggy says, so we go in. And I said, excuse me, do you have a Braille menu? Now, I will say this. Cracker Barrel, they do have Braille menus. Yeah. So I asked, she said, a what? I said, a Braille menu. And she said, a what? I said, a Braille menu. And the woman that was sitting next to her screams at the top of her lungs, that's for blind people. And Peggy says, but I'm not deaf. We never did get that Braille menu.
No, we never
They didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, with you, you're not currently working on a show. Hopefully there's one in our future. I hope so. The past year and a half has put a dent on all of us. What have you been able to do in order to keep your creativity and your creative juices flowing?
Well, I have. Well, first of all, I I learned how to Zoom. For all of you who know, I don't know, I am technically challenged. I don't even know how to turn on and off my iPhone, you know, but I learned how to Zoom. So I joined many groups, church group, I joined my high school alumni group. So I learned that. I started writing my it's not really my autobiography, but it's about things about people that I've met, places that I've been, and whatever. I started writing that. So I did that. And then I started planning what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, however long it was. And that's when I decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to doing what I used to do before. I'm going to go back to doing weddings and private parties and entertaining people privately. And that's what I want to do. And that way I'll get a chance to travel. And hopefully I'll get to Italy one day, you know.
Well, you'll have to get to Italy, and let's go together.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, my God. I mean, it's been years since I've been in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, Peggy, with all that's happened, and I want to let everyone know here, in our remaining time that's left here, if any of you have any questions for Peggy, she'll be glad to answer those questions. And or myself, you know, but this is all about Peggy today. Peggy, a lot's happened and changed since you first got involved with the New York City cabaret scene. What are some of the things that you love the most about things that have changed? And what are the things that you really miss the most from those early beginnings for you?
You mean as far as cabaret?
As far as cabaret is concerned.
Well, you know, it really didn't make much difference. I think what I missed is I used to like the open mics, only because you got a chance to meet people. I miss those. You got a chance to meet people, and you got a chance to hear new songs and learn about new songs. That's really what I think I really missed about the open mics, you know, and just meeting your friends, just having dinner, you know, just once a week or however often they had it. That's really what I miss.
And I want to ask you, who are the people who have had the biggest impact on you? The mentors, the people who have made a huge difference in your life.
You mean
either positively or negatively?
You mean musically or just
in general?
Well, I think the one person that comes to mind, my grandmother, Ladora Cheatham, because she gave me a lot of good advice. I mean, really good advice. And had I listened to all of it, you know, it would have saved me a lot of trouble. That's one person that I admire. And then I think about a teacher that I had in high school. He's not with us anymore, but everybody was discouraging me and telling me I should get married and leave school. But Noble Wiltshire, who was my English teacher in high school, he came to me one day and he said, Peggy, you follow your heart, you follow your dreams, and don't let anybody ever discourage you from that, you know. And then there was a man that I met. I didn't get to know him well, but I met him in the singing experience. I'll never forget. His name was Marvin Dent. And he has an expression that I steal and use, and I give him credit. You know what he says? He says, I want to inspire before I expire.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about an inspiration. How old were you when you jumped out of a plane?
I think I must have been, let's see, that was back in 2010. How old was I in 2010?
Don't ask me because my brain doesn't function.
However, I know I jumped out of an airplane. I know that. And I just thought that was the greatest thing. Oh, the greatest feeling. Everybody should do it. Everybody should jump out of an airplane just once. It's such a feeling of freedom. You're flying up there. And
I want to let everyone know you can go to YouTube and Peggy Eason, Defying Gravity, and it's there, and you can watch this video clip. Whose idea was it for you to pair that video clip of you jumping out of a plane with the song Defying Gravity?
That was David's idea, my ex-husband. That was his idea. He said, Peggy, why don't you take the video and you're singing Defying Gravity? And then so I think it was Jeremy Handelman who edited it for me. He did it, and it worked. It worked. And now I even have the tape. So whenever I sing Defying Gravity, people can see me jumping out of the airplane. You know, that's great. You know, because I've done it for your show.
Absolutely, you've done it. And you know, and it's funny. Michael Colby says that the open mics coming back.
Mhm.
He said there's the salon, for example.
Mhm.
Have you ever hosted the salon?
Oh no, please! I don't want to do that.
You don't want to host
No,
the salon?
I don't want to host. I just want to sit back and listen. But
No, I want you to host it. I want to be
we
there.
can do it together.
Okay, Tanya, it'll be my comeback also.
We'll do it together.
We'll do it together. An evening. I think we should do an evening with Peggy Eason and
no.
Richard Skipper.
Oh my God!
Would you do that? Would you all come if we do
Yeah.
an evening with Peggy Eason and Richard Skipper? We have appeared together on stage.
Yeah, we have. We have.
You know, but you talk about the mentors. Who are the people working today, the singers, the artists that inspire you?
Well, I tell you, I don't know. These artists that are out here today, I'm not really impressed by any of them.
Well, then let's
myself.
go back a few years, 10, 15 years ago. Who were the artists who inspired you?
I'm trying to remember. Well, you know, of course, I said I love Bobby Goulet, and I loved, and I, you know, I also loved Lena Horne. I don't like jazz, but I love Lena Horne for some reason. I loved her, and I loved, you know, who I really liked, Rebecca Luger. I thought,
God,
I'm so sorry that she's gone.
You
but
and me both.
I really loved Rebecca Luger,
and she was one of the nicest people on the
because
planet.
I think we had similar voices, you know, and I used to sing classic. And Rebecca Luger, really, Luger, yeah. I'm so sorry that she's gone.
I am too.
I'm so sorry. You know?
Absolutely. And you've done also a lot of traveling. You've been on cruise ships and everything.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to ask you a pointed question. Do you prefer traveling alone, or do you prefer traveling with people?
Well, if I don't mind traveling with people as long as they don't tie me down, you know, because I don't want to be obligated to anybody. You got to stay with me because I'm with you. I don't like that. When I'm by myself, I can just do what I want to do when I want to do it. And but I can do both. I'm flexible, you know, as long as the person doesn't tie me down. You know, some people think that, you know, they want to try to possess you, you know.
Now I mean, how many doo-wop malt cruises have you been on?
Let's see. I've been on, I went on 2013, 14, 15, 13, 14, 15, 4 of them.
And do you normally go by yourself, or do you travel with someone?
The last one I was by myself. Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was fun. You know, being the shy person that I am, you know, I had lots of fun. I met the people that I wanted to meet. Bobby Vidal was there, and Linda and I are very good friends. And I met Smokey Robinson, and there's a picture of me with him somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I met all the people that I wanted to meet, you know, and it was nice. The cruise director got to know me, and you know, so and my good friend Maureen Hanna and I were roommates. We had a good time, boy. I tell you, we had a good time. She's from Virginia Beach. You met her, Richard. She was with me that day. Remember that day you found me outside the restaurant?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you met her.
And is there anything, Peggy? I mean, you've always gone after. I mean, knowing you the way that I know you, hearing your amazing story, and I hope that you do write those memoirs because I think that they will be inspiring. I see a whole new career for you, doing the talk circuit, and I'm going to be right there with you as your publicist. But I want to ask you, is there anything that holds you back?
No, because I was told, never be afraid to fail. Always try. Never be afraid to fail. And I think the reason that most people don't try things is they're afraid of failure. But you know what? There's nothing wrong in that because that's how you learn. Mm-hmm. And so I don't allow anything to get in my way. If there's something that I want, I may not succeed, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna try at least. At least they can say I tried.
Now, I mean, you've had some setbacks in your personal life, as we all do.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at your career, what would you consider the biggest setback that you've ever experienced as an artist, as a singer? And how did you get through that?
Well, I think for me, in both my singing career and my other work, my real career, my job, you know, I think
singing is your real career.
Yeah, but I think that if people could get past my disability, because it's been my experience that most people want to judge me on my disability rather than my ability, and I think that was the problem with my manager, that they were looking at me as a blind person and not as just a person. And not, they were trying to sell me as a blind singer, not just a singer. I am not, my blindness has nothing to do with it. You know, I am a singer. That's it. That's how I like to be called. A singer. I'm a singer. And if people could just get past that ability and just concentrate on that, my life would have been much easier.
Well, why do you think that people have trouble getting past it?
I don't know. I don't know. I try not to pity myself. I try not to. I don't know. I you know what I think? I think it's projection. They think, well, if they were me, how they would be, which has nothing to do with me. Nothing whatsoever.
Well, you know, I will say this. I mean, you inspire me on so many levels. I mean, the thing that I love about you, we have such a great time together. At least I think we do.
Oh yeah, we do. We do. We do.
I think the world of you. I love you so much. And I am glad that once again, we are celebrating your birthday again, because you are always worth celebrating.
Thank you.
We were not able to be together last year on your birthday, but we've celebrated up until last year.
That's right. You were the last person I saw.
The last person. And God willing, we will celebrate a lot of birthdays together. I know that you brought something with you.
I would like to. I don't know how much time we have left.
We've got a few minutes.
Okay, but I would like to read something. You were asking me who inspired me, but I found a poem a couple of years ago. It was written by Mother Teresa. You all know who Mother Teresa is. Boy, my friend Matt Malone would be really proud of me now. That's my Jesuit friend. He'd be proud of me. But anyway, but I found something that she wrote that I just use all the time. I use it when I speak. I use it as my inspiration. And I think it could be helpful to a lot of people, especially during the time of COVID and things. May I read it?
Yeah, but before you do that, I want to say my closing remarks. And then I will have you say anything that you want to say in closing, and we'll close with a poem. How's that?
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody for being here today. Peggy Eason is, I'm going to tear up because I love you so much, and I can't believe that we weren't together last year.
Yeah. Whole year. That's a long time.
I know. So it is such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
We are going to have a few friends over later. If you're in the neighborhood, just pick up the phone, call me. We got lots of food and cake and everything. So let's celebrate. Thank you all for being here today. I don't take for granted that you could have been anywhere for the past hour. It took us a little late getting started today due to traffic and other issues, but we got here. That's the bottom line. Speaks again to the resilience of Peggy Eason. If you are here for the first time, and if you don't mind, please subscribe to Richard Skipper Celebrates on YouTube. I'm all about celebrating artists and their body of worth. And we've got a lot of great celebrations coming up. There are also over 250 celebrations behind me. So if you enjoyed the show today and you have another hour to spare some time over the next day or so, take the time to check out one of the other interviews that I've done, the other celebrations. I also end every show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Go to your Facebook friends list, and the first name that pops up today, reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private message, but a phone call. And let that person know what they mean to you. Because as my dear friend David Friedman says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And you never know what someone else is going through. But if you're going to be out on a boat, make sure that you bring. Yes, we've been out on a boat together. Make sure you bring a skipper along. Now, you've got the final word, Peggy. So anything that you want to say about anything that we talked about today that you want to expound upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any message that you want to put out to everyone who's watching now. And again, thank you all for being here today. Peggy Eason, the Chocolate Diva.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we didn't talk about the Chocolate Diva. I'll tell you.
Well, tell them how you became the Chocolate Diva.
I love chocolate. Everybody knows I love chocolate. And my girlfriend Wanda and I were at a chocolate show, and I was sitting in front of this big, large vat of hot frozen chocolate. I'm sorry, from Serendipity. And she said, you know what? I'm going to call you the Chocolate Diva. And that's how it's all started, the Chocolate Diva. People tried to make me get rid of it, but I refused. I said, no, 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 I'm going to keep the Chocolate Diva.
And here she is.
And here I am. So I'd like to say to all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, I'm available for private parties if you need me, and you won't be sorry. But I'd like to leave you with this poem by Mother Teresa because it helps me, and I hope it will help you. She says, life is an opportunity. Benefit from it. Life is beauty. Admire it. Life is a dream. Realize it. Life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is a duty. Complete it. Life is a game. Play it. Life is a promise. Fulfill it. Life is sorrow. Overcome it. Life is a song. Sing it. Life is a struggle. Accept it. Life is a tragedy. Confront it. Life is an adventure. Dare it. Life is life. Make it. Life is too precious. Do not destroy it. Life is life. Fight for it. Thank you.